Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have an album review for INVERACITY, Circle of Perversion. So yeah, background, we're listening to Skinless, Progression Towards Evil. So yeah, if you don't know INVERACITY, old brutal death metal band from Greece. Their style is similar to if you like the Netherlands bands like Disavowed and Pyemia, or the California stuff like Disgorge, you'll like this. A lot of heavy suffocation influence on here. I mean, even the name INVERACITY, leads you INVERACITY. Clear suffocation influence, obviously. There's a little bit of kind of Cannibal Corpse-y stuff in here too, which I'll talk about, which is cool. So yeah, this was put out through Unnatural Brutality. I believe this originally came out, I want to say 2001 or 2003. But this is a reissue from 2017. It sucks because when I bought this, it was listed as an OG press on Discogs, but they sent me a 2017 press. But I got it for $10, so it's not that big of a loss. There is a little crack in the album cover though, but it's whatever. I really like the album cover. I know it's offensive as fuck, but it's so memorable. And it sounds exactly like this album. It's just fucking cutthroat and intense. It's straight to the point and in your face. Yeah, really awesome album cover. And then you got Circle of Perversion and the side text. There's the spine. Looks like there's a crack there too. There's the back with the track listing. Pretty ridiculous song titles. You got Savagely Beaten, which is probably the most popular song on here. If you haven't heard this band, listen to that song. It's basically think INVERACITY's, it's like INVERACITY's Hammer Smashed Face, I guess. Repulsed by Vaginal Reek. Fist Fuck Sodomy, like I said, ridiculous song titles. Defloration, Unconscious, Ejaculation Over Mutilation, Blood of Impurity, Compulsive Degradation, She Died in My Arms, 11, and Multiple Homicides. So there's 11 tracks on here. I'd say the strongest ones are Savagely Beaten, Fist Fuck Sodomy, Blood of Impurity, and probably Unconscious. Also Multiple Homicide. Every song here is great though. This album is really straight to the point. If you don't like intros or any of that kind of interlude bullshit, you will like this album. I mean, you could barely tell the difference between songs almost your first few times listening to this, because there's hardly any pause in between songs. It almost sounds like just a little break in this middle of one song. Like I said, it's hard to tell the difference between a lot of the songs because they're so they all sound similar obviously because it's brutal death metal, and it's type of brutal death metal with a lot of blast beats anyways, so the songs all sound very similar. It's pretty technical. It's not Disgorge or Defeated Sanity levels of technical, but like I said, Disavowed, Pyemia, around there. Let me show the inside. There's the disc. You gotta spin it around to see the logo in the right direction, but I didn't notice that thing's broken on the hinge. Well, not broken, but when it bends back, it's a little worn out. Yeah, I like this collage. And picture of the band. Looking pretty cool. I like how the drummer's got a Flesh Grind shirt. Flesh Grind's another killer old school brutal death metal band. If you don't know them, go listen to them. They're great. Just lyrics. Really ridiculous, really stupid lyrics. I mean, the lyrics to Repulsed by Vaginal Reek. For example, I could not forgive the slut. I grabbed a knife and stabbed her. That vile cunt was replaced by a bloody mess. They're so ridiculous. Not really the best lyrics in my opinion in brutal death metal. Not just because they're gore and offensive, but because they're I don't have a problem with that really because it's brutal death metal. But I don't know. They're not the most memorable lyrics, but it is what it is. The lyrics don't really matter with shit that was not good. Shit like this. But this is just super intense and heavy. The production on this album I absolutely love. The guitar tone is one of my favorite parts of it. The guitar and bass and drum tone is all spot on. The guitars are super meaty on here. Not a ton of low end, but they're just really juicy and crunchy sounding. And I don't know, the guitar tone on here is just perfect to me. Especially during some of those chuggier parts, like in Savagely Beaten and Fist Fuck Sodomy. The A lot of the like pinch harmonics really like pop in the mix. It's great. They sound really just juicy and satisfying to hear. The bass tone is kind of clanky sounding, but in a good way. I mean, even bass players I know love the bass tone on this album. It's just really fucking good. Really dark sounding bass, but it's pretty much audible. You could hear it most of the time because the production is very well balanced on here. The guitars are loud, but not too loud and overpowering. You know, scooped mids, but like nothing really gets lost in the mix. You could tell what's going on most of the time on here. Obviously, because it's very technical, or not very, but it's fairly technical. Your first few listens, you know, you won't know how the songs go, obviously, but over time, it's pretty easy to tell what's going on here. The production isn't super bad. It's pretty good production. The vocals kind of sound like Frank Mullen, but a little bit more like, not distorted, but like a little more indiscernible, and maybe a little bit lower. But savagely beaten, you know, a lot of blast beats, just really intense and in your face, very fast. If you like you know, a lot of blast beats in your brutal death metal, you will really enjoy this album because that's most of what this album is. But like I said, there's some chuggy riffs with like pinch harmonics, like on Savagely Beaten and Fistfuck Sodomy. The track Unconscious opens up with this really Cannibal Corpse-y sounding riff. I really like that. There's some slight bits of like eerie melody in here, so that's cool. Like I said, you hear that on like Ejaculation or Mutilation. Blood of Impurity is just a really in-your-face, straight-to-the-throat track. Multiple Homicide, it's got some really memorable like vocal parts. Speaking of the vocals, a lot of the vocal patterns sound very grindcore influenced, which I really like. That's something I kind of just barely noticed. I don't usually pay attention to that stuff that much, but yeah, there's a very slight grind influence on here. Not just because there's a lot of blast beats, but because it's just, it has that kind of simple, like, you know, vocal patterns and the way some of the riffs go. Yeah, if you like brutal death metal, there's really no reason you shouldn't like this. And if you're new to brutal death metal as a whole, this may not be a bad place to start. If you already like Suffocation, you'll probably like this. Obviously not the most original band ever, but they do it very good, and all the riffs and everything, all the songwriting is really great on here. It's not the most complicated songwriting in brutal death metal, but they're definitely very talented musicians. The drum tone on here is fantastic. The snare's got just enough pop to it. It's not like cranked or like a pingy snare though. Think like the snare on None So Vile from Cryptopsy. It's kind of like that. Yeah, the drums, they're not super loud and overbearing, or nothing in the mix on here is really loud or overbearing. The production is really brutal, but in a more subtle way, but it doesn't sound like super thin or anything. But yeah, this album is just, it sounds great, and I love it. I'd honestly give this an 8 out of 10. I forgot to mention, this album's around half an hour long, so perfect length. Or actually, no, I'd probably give this a 9. I can't think of really any problems I have with this album, other than maybe the pauses in between the songs are a little too short, but that's not that big a deal because, like, that you don't really need to know. Like, this album is just basically 30 minutes of brutality, and that's all you really need with this album. I actually think it's like 29 minutes. But yeah, really short and to the point, really fun to listen to, super heavy. Yeah, they have another album too, it's called Extermination of Millions, I think. That was put out through Nuclear. I need to get that one too. I don't know that album as well as this one, and I haven't really listened to that one nearly as much as this. But yeah, if you're gonna listen to Veracity, this one's definitely the way to go. I'd say this is the more popular album and probably the stronger album. But yeah, really great album though. I would recommend this if you like brutal death metal, especially the more fast and kind of technical stuff. So almost dropped it there. INVERACITY, Circle Perversion, 9 out of 10. Fantastic album. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.